So the Time Guy finally got to produce his dream episode, and I'm here to talk about my thoughts on it. And since it only has one other directly related episode, I might as well cover that in full instead of doing the lightning round format I did for my last two reviews, regardless of already having written my thoughts on Jotaro vs Kenshiro in my upcoming Season 5 ranking. So I'll cover that and then DIO vs Alucard. As per usual, Nem's doing his own version of this, go check it out. It'll be linked in the description. Not much more to say than that, let's get started.
Fucking Muso Tensei just kind of shits all over.
Jotaro vs Kenshiro is an episode, and not one I like. I wish I could say I didn't dislike it either, but yeah. I don't hate it or anything. This is nowhere near the worst death battle ever made, or even the worst of the season it's a part of. I at least like it significantly more than 3 of the 4 Marvel vs DC episodes that Season 5 gave us. So, starting with the analysis, I wasn't too into it. Kenshiro's was whatever, and Jotaro's was filled with JoJo memes, which I didn't find funny. Though that might just be because I never got into JoJo's, so I'm not really in on a lot of the jokes. I'm aware of some of them, but I can't appreciate them like I do with the prequel memes in Obi-Wan vs Kakashi. Plus, with the prequel memes, you can implement them in ways that people who are in on the jokes will get, but if they don't, then it just comes across as normal dialogue. You can work prequel memes in naturally, unlike with JoJo memes, which can be very context specific and draw way more attention to the fact that they're memes. Also, the less said about the fucking awful conclusion where they give Kenshiro the win despite giving Jotaro far superior stats and hacks earlier in the episode, the better. So, the fight is kinda boring, not gonna lie, Wiz. It's super short, barely anything interesting happens, and then it ends. I don't think these power sets mesh together particularly well to make for an exciting fight. They almost have an interesting thing with Ken's shadow clones near the end. Could have had Star Platinum hold them off as they go for Jotaro, but no, they immediately lock in on the stand anyway and one of them slips past him. I can't even say the fight's outright awful because it's not actively fucking up a lot of the time. I just find it super boring and unmemorable. The only things that stick with me for the most part are the clash where they do the meme shouts, and also Old Man Joseph, whose name I finally learned being pretty funny whenever he chimes in. I don't even know what to say for the rest of it because it gives me borderline nothing to talk about. I guess this is some of the weakest hand-drawn stuff in the series. Jotaro's oddly small head here and his weirdly drawn face here don't look right to me. Ken's end is fine, I guess, though both of them have the almost universal issue of Season 5 sprite fights, where the sprites will sometimes be really blurry for no reason in particular. Actually, my favourite bit of the fight's on the opposite end, where it breaks away from Season 5 trends. I think the death is great. The reveal that Kenshiro landed the one hit he needed, the perfect closing line, the painful looking way Jotaro swells and then fucking bursts into a blood fountain. This is some great stuff. Almost balances out my complete disinterest in the rest of the fight. I wish there was more for me to say here. As an outsider to both of these series, there isn't much I can explicitly point to as really bad. I just never enjoyed it for the most part. And I'm sure that's reflected in how this episode somehow made me emote even less than usual. 4 out of 10 I guess, maybe fans of these series will like it more, I don't know.
Hey, look, Wiz, I got a stand! I call it, hey, look!
Holy shit, this is on the whole other end of the quality spectrum. I'm not even gonna dance around it until the end. DIO vs Alucard's a fucking phenomenal episode that I love to death. Actually, before I get into the episode itself, I have a feeling this is going to be this season's equivalent to Goku vs Superman, Ben 10 vs Green Lantern, etc. So I just want to get this out of the way right at the start. I do not care if the verdict is, quote, correct or not. Versus is subjective, and I am not a versus debater. I have seen a total of 3 episodes of JoJo's, literally nothing from Hellsing. I am not going to claim to know better than Liam, the rest of the researchers, or anyone arguing against the episode. The verdict plays no role in my enjoyment. I just want to make that clear since I still get comments complaining that Steven and Link should have won. I genuinely could not care less. Okay, now with that out of the way, the analysis here are both great. Much like with Heihachi vs Geese, my lack of personal experience with these two made me excited to learn about them. And unlike with Heihachi vs Geese, there are no jokes I found painfully unfunny. They use memes in ways that aren't as distracting as in Jotaro vs Kenshiro, and I actually liked the cutaways. One of them getting a stand was so painfully obvious as a punchline, but I actually like the execution. Stands in JoJo's are all named after songs and bands apparently, and Boomsticks being named 99 Bottles is fucking amazing. All around, I think the jokes are solid in this episode, even in the conclusion where they have the bit about Wiz making a pun and Boomstick getting upset, followed by Dio interrupting before they can say his last name when they declare him the winner. All that on top of good coverage of the stories and abilities for the two, Boomstick getting punched for referencing Time Ha, a conclusion that covers all their bases well to the point where you can tell Liam had much more freedom to write what he wanted, unlike Ben vs. Hal or Wally vs. Archie Sonic, and Alucard genuinely having my favourite ending to a death battle analysis period. This is probably one of my favourite analysis portions in recent death battle. How does the fight compare? Well, it's on a similar level of fucking incredible. The preview on the cast was setting my expectations high, and the rest of the fight more than delivered. Well, I mean, it starts with a reused animation from DBX, immersion broken 0 out of 10. Can't believe they didn't put extra unnecessary budget into redrawing that. The setup works well though. Alucard's a vampire hunter, so this shit basically writes itself. Dio throws away purple Mai Shiranui because he has the same disdain for her death battle that I do. We get a great first exchange between the two, and then the fight begins. It's mostly great, though I do have a few very minor gripes with it that I'll get out of the way right now so that I can focus on mostly the stuff I like for the rest of this review. They break the 180 rule here with Dio on the left side facing right here, and then having the next shot with him on the right facing left. And even though I like how the first interaction flows, I can't say I'm too keen on the delivery of Alucard's first line. It sounds less like a threatening, "Funny, I was just thinking of having mine," and more like, "Funny, I was just thinking about having mine. Wanna go have us on a McNugget share box? Maybe after we could go see the Lobo film." I love Taka's Alucard voice, and when he gets a line right, he really gets it right. But there are a handful of lines where it sounds like the character himself is reading from a script, and that one's the worst case offender. And Dio, we'll get there. So the fight starts with Dio having a clear physical advantage over Alucard, blitzing around him and tearing him apart easily. But Alucard's able to regen from anything Dio sends his way. A nice bit of character animation that reflects the conclusion they came to. It doesn't feel like a one-sided spite match either because, well, I mean this is only the start of the fight, and Alucard still has restriction levels 1 and 0 left to go through. Dio starts chucking a barrage of knives Al's way, and I like that he didn't even have them on him, he had to go to the store to get them. I appreciate when they can work in environmental usage in ways that benefit the choreography without being fucking stupid. I love the incorporation of the "it was I Dio" line right after, partly because it's one of few JoJo's memes where I've watched the episode that gives it context, partly because it fits naturally and doesn't use the version that people apparently misquote a lot, and partly because I will never not find it funny when a character is so shocked that the last bit of their sentence is their VA completely breaking their impression and reading it in their normal voice. What follows is another great line where Alucard delivers one of few quotes I know from Hellsing, because they showed it in the analysis. I appreciate them giving context to a lot of these meme lines on screen so that I'm never clueless as to what they're talking about. Speaking of memes, Dio busts out the Road Roller, crushes Alucard and blows him up, somehow not damaging the Road Roller in the process, And then already Al is busting out level 0. I like that he's using it barely halfway through the fight, since they'd already done about everything that would have been expected from levels 6 through 1, and it means they have even more time to capitalise on the potential of the zombie army and the Blood River. Oh yeah, speaking of the Blood River, it's one of my favourite parts of the episode. The lead up with Dio and the world both being clearly taken aback by Alucard's transformation, the impact of the attack itself, and the shot of the river flooding the city made up entirely of the 3D background effects. In most other episodes this season, this would be the season 8 shot. Dio also loses his jacket, and I like when episodes have characters' appearances change to reflect the progression of the fight. Dio and the world have a brief scuffle with the zombies from Frank vs. Leon in a scene that is far superior to the one from that episode. The zombies are able to get in closer and actually put Dio on the back foot, but the world's able to get them off him. What follows is one of my favourite moments that this season's given us. I haven't seen Hellsing Ultimate abridged, but I am aware of that one line people wanted them to reference, and they pulled it off masterfully. I love Taka's delivery of the line right after the Road Roller, but this one right here is my favourite of the entire episode. Now Alucard is running around on these 4 giant orbs and it looks really fucking creepy, helping to sell the feeling of him being a twisted monster so well. Then Dio smacks him with one of Big Ben's hands, so Al picks up the other one with telekinesis and they have a sword fight with them. That's so cool and creative. Easily my favourite usage of the environment we've had all season. Dio tackles Alucard, Al gets another cool line as Dio tries to bite his guns, which Al responds to by blasting him through the head. Jesus Christ. Dio freezes and shatters Alucard's arms to get rid of his guns, and then... yeah, this shot here's probably my least favourite of the fight, at least from a visual standpoint. The hand-drawn stuff's fine, but the frame rate? Yikes. I thought this was a stream lag thing when I watched it in a Hyperbeam room with my friends, but no, that's just how it actually looks. Blake vs Mikasa is blushing at how choppy it is, god damn. In spite of that, I don't even care, because Tom Shock delivers what is easily my favourite DIO line in this episode. And now I can talk about their performance as a whole. I liked Taka as Alucard, and I liked Tom in the previous episode as the Kool-Aid Man, but their DIO performance blows both of them out of the water. I love every single one of these line reads. The regular speaking lines sound fittingly arrogant, and the screams are all delivered with such high levels of energy. This is one of my favourite performances in any death battle, helped by how the dialogue is fantastic all throughout. Every single bit of banter flows perfectly. Pretty much every interaction they have directly plays off the line that came right before. And I also like how DIO's meme lines blend the English and Japanese versions together in ways that sound natural, with his screams for the world and the road roller, and at the end he says useless before he screams muda muda. Speaking of which, the episode is capped off with an amazing death as the world crushes Alucard's heart, delivers a stand rush, and then both it and DIO deliver one last attack that splatters Alucard to pieces and makes it rain with his blood, as DIO delivers one last meme cry, and we get a slightly altered version of the to be continued screen. Oh yeah, and the finisher gave me exactly what I was hoping for. DIO essentially teleports behind Alucard, and the last attack he delivers is to his head. Fucking S tier. God, I love this episode so much. You can feel the passion Liam put into every single aspect of it. It has that same unburdening feeling as Goku Black vs Reverse Flash, where it feels like they got to make whatever they wanted without time and budget restrictions holding them back. It's the longest episode of the season, and it feels like it includes so much. All of their important abilities are used, the choreography is great from start to finish, the hand-drawn stuff's mostly solid, the track's one of the best at setting atmosphere, the effects and backgrounds are all stunningly good, the analysis is fun as hell, the issues are so few and far between. This episode is a masterpiece. When Alucard was teased for the start of the second half of the season, they play a line where he says this is more fun than he's had in a while, and that captures my thoughts on this episode perfectly. I haven't enjoyed an episode this much since Yoda vs King Mickey, even more so than Po vs Iron Fist and Goku Black vs Reverse Flash. There's nothing like, oh boy, I can't wait to tell Shifu that I killed someone, or hey Wiz, I can burp and fart at the same time. Oh, by the way, here's all the Goku scaling before we've even mentioned Goku Black. That's right, Boomstick. Both of these episodes have that one big issue for me that holds it back from giving it a 10 out of 10, but this one doesn't. DIO vs Alucard's become one of maybe 3 or 4 Sprite episodes I'd give a 10 out of 10 score to. I'm so happy Liam's dream episode turned out so well, and Luis posted about the overwhelmingly positive response to the animation, which made me really happy to see. I genuinely don't know how this episode's going to be topped for the rest of the season. Maybe with the finale, but definitely not with Akuma vs Shao Kahn. I don't have a problem with this match existing like some people do. Sorry, Sided. I'm not head over heels for it or anything, but it's a long time request, and it makes sense to put the head honchos of the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter food chains against each other after they essentially killed the second in commands. Plus, the animation has potential to be really cool. I don't have anything in particular I want for it outside of a good kill, and also for them to not be outdone by the second episode ever in terms of good character animation that portrays their fighting style as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so happy that DIO vs Alucard's given JoJo a much better track record on the show than it had before. Be sure to check out Nem's review as well. All that's left is the highlight reel, which I wasn't in. I did watch it with my friends, but that was a few hours after it came out and after they'd already seen it. They were just down to rewatch it because it was that good, and also they wanted to hear my complete disbelief at the time HUD joke. Anyway, enjoy the highlight reel.
Dick energy would lead to a lifelong desire.
I don't like how he said small dick energy and there was just like a white fluid that came on the screen.
Why you gotta make it like that? Why you gotta make it like that?
Oh no, who's getting a stand?
Gonna get a stand. Wiz is gonna get a stand.
Joe, he's gonna stab himself with a stand arrow? Yo! That's actually pretty good.
Push it, he's gonna bore Wiz.
Oh, Wiz, let me out!
Oh no. Okay, he just comes back to life. So Boomstick has transmutation axe now.
Tongue people with a giant beard.
No! This. Oh no, Biffy's gonna drop the episode like 5 points now. Wait, what? Was a little girl during World War II.
What the fuck? What?
That is true, he was a little girl.
Canonical Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Wiz has death resistance?
nailing it into our head.
Like when Millennium SS Lieutenant.
Yeah, he did fight the
restriction
KKK.
Levels were placed on him
And Nazis at the
Oh,
same
here we
time.
go.
He said both Spoopy and Doggo in this.
But should he, the fellow monster, a fool who rejected their humanity like himself,
Oh.
he'll let loose the dogs of war and all hell
That's sick.
will
So
sing.
This is so
Oh,
cool.
man.
This is sick.
This is looking good.
I'm so excited for this fight.
As Dio killed the dog.
Yo, he was
Oh,
doing
doing
the
the
walk. Let's go.
Let's go, come on. This soon?
He's scared. Yo, holy crap.
Oh shit!
That looked crazy.
Already doing this.
Wait, level 0?
Already?
Oh my god.
I was not expecting this so fast.
That's the line I wanted. Oh, good.
Come on, Dio.
Let's go, come on.
That is terrifying.
Little monster.
Oh my god, this is so.
It looks
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
Oh my.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
I think getting to level 0 is just to let all this happen as long as possible. That's good.
Nice!
Good scream. God damn.
Space Stinger. They're using all of his powers. The freeze, the Space Stinger, Rippy Eyes. Holy
Oh,
crap.
shit.
Holy crap.
Yo.
Yo, Dio!
Oh,
Let's go! That was so good!
The bloody drink. It was
The-
great.
The blood river looks so
May
good.
have been the king of the vampires
That was
of
awesome.
but Dio had
That is just
everything
one of my
he
new
needed to
favorites of
clip
all
the
time.
blood.
Yeah, me too. That was sick.
Strategy in most fights is to
Oh, people are gonna be mad.
I really like what Alucard said, like when he's getting those wings. That was a cool thing he said.
The winner is Dio.
Oh my god.
Alright. Yep.
Ooh.
Huh?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there he is! This man!
Oh man.